Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I am your host, Scott Renf, and I'm here to tell you about all the 4th of July fun, all the stuff that's happening here in Missoula around this time. I got some news, I got some weather, I got Dubbin Stuff for you guys as well. But let's kick things off, because you probably want to know what the weather's going to be like if you guys want to blow stuff up today. So today, it's currently 45 degrees. Your high is going to be 78. It's going to be mostly sunny, partly cloudy tonight with a low of 53. Thursday, things are going to really heat up, but Independence Day is the perfect day to get out and about, enjoy some of the air-filled smoke. Just be careful because it's illegal to fire fireworks in the city limits. Of course, this weekend, you can expect some of those highs to start going down again, but we're going to expect some of the small little heat wave Thursday, Friday, and see the tail end of it on Sunday. So we'll be seeing little bits and pieces of that. Friday night, we're going to see some slight chance of thunderstorms happening going into your weekend. All right, let's talk about some news things. Dylan Curtis Conant of Missoula is still at large in Missoula, a 17-year-old teenager who shot two other teens. Of course, both of them were hospitalized. One of them was released from the hospital and then arrested on a warrant, and it turns out that there was some kind of connection via Snapchat that the investigation is still going underway. Conant's name was released into the public record because he is considered a public safety risk, and he's considered armed and dangerous. He is described as a 5 foot 8 inches tall, white with black hair and a slim build. So if you see him, be sure to call the police. You can call, let me see if I have their number. You just call the police, 911. Okay, so of course a felony charge of assault with a weapon has been filed against Conant, who is yet to be arrested. In other news, evasive mussels are getting funding from the state in the amount of $7 million. The money goes to opening and operating more boat inspection stations, water sampling billboards, outreach programs, and oversight groups to protect Montana from aquatic invasive species. Mussels attach themselves to boats when the boat gets in the body of water, and then when the boat transfers, because people boat in different areas, they are able to release spores, and they're hermaphrodites. So they don't need a opposite sex partner. All they need is just one mussel to release millions of spores throughout a new lake to invasive species to invade those clean waters and threaten the species and aquatic life and the ecosystem. The U.S. Fish Wildlife Service projects that the mussel infestation could cost the Northwest hydropower industry up to $300 million annually, costs that could be passed on to the consumers. A new study shows that an uptick in homes built in the Lewis and Clark, Jefferson, and Broadwater counties, that's near Helena, in areas of high moderate risk of wildfire in the last quarter century. Wildfire hazard and home development reported that 1 in 8 homes in 25 western Montana counties built since 1990 fell within the high category of fire risks. So if building in a 100-year floodplain is questionable enough, now houses were built and sold in areas who have high fire danger. But let's face it, in everywhere Montana seems to have a high fire danger. In national news, we're going to change some fire into ice, as in terms of ICE, which is the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Movement is called Abolish ICE, which is getting some steam. It symbolizes Democrats' opposition to Trump's immigration policy, particularly in separation of children and parents at the border. It's a shorthand way to remind lawmakers and the public that Democrats don't like the president has demonized immigrants, whether they have entered the U.S. illegally or not. But of course, many Democrats are also hesitant to join on the Abolish ICE train because it tends to be a big issue that Republicans have stronger argument on immigration policies. According to letters signed by 19 special agents who's part of ICE's Homeland Security Investigation Unit, quoted in saying, ICE is supposed to track down drug cartel leaders, child pornographers, and human traffickers, but instead, the letter said, agents are spending time and resources going after undocumented immigrants, and the agency is becoming a political pawn. The letter calls for splitting the agency in two, one part for Homeland Security and other part for deportation. So that's some of the things that are going on here. In the news, I got some new programs that are going to be airing on MCAT this week as well. But of course, we got a couple of 4th of July specials playing today as well. But here are the new programs going to be airing on MCAT with the premiere of the Southwest Asia Conference, the 16th annual one as well. So when I come back, I'm going to talk about your city council, where they're talking about, what were they talking about again? B.U.I.L.D, which is a grant program that they're going to be talking about, money that's going to be going towards the Mullen Russell Street update.
You know, when someone gives you an idea and then, you know, you can end up selling them, make a living out of it, so that's cool. And similarly, I started doing knife rolls for my chef friend. He was cat sitting for me. And yeah, now it's one of my best sellers. And
in developing all of this work, you're on a schedule with markets, the marketplace, and you set up a market spot.
yeah, I do the People's Market. It's my 3rd year. It's a lot of fun. And I do the Maid Fairs and some art festivals as well.
They think that my science is mistaken. The bad guys, the ones who hate me, think that my science is mistaken. Their argument being that I only looked at pedophiles who were caught, that's why they look stupid. I will give them half Psych 101 research methods. I can understand why they would say, I don't have a representative sample. I don't. Therefore, I can't say, their conclusion is, therefore, I can't say anything about pedophiles. Now they've missed the subtle science. My comparison group were also incarcerated, so it falls out of the equation. So this group often mistake my science as invalid, thinking that I compared pedos who were incarcerated to regular, everyday, healthy controls, which is not what I did. Other scientists did, not this one.
The archaeology, there's a lot of archaeology it's done early on in the 3rd and 2nd millennia before the Common Era, studying into Central Asia. What they're looking for is they're trying to answer the question, when was the horse domesticated? And they can guess somewhere between 2nd and 3rd or BCE. What they're looking for is bit wear on the horse's teeth and looking at the hoof wear, some of the equipment. Unfortunately, a lot of the archaeological finds that they have, they're in actually people who are quite wealthy. And so it doesn't quite represent the common person out there. Anyways, there are various theories as to why the horse was domesticated. One of them is simple. People had to have the need for speed and get on the horse and feel the wind through their hair. This is actually Step Warriors in a book on there. It's quite interesting how the guy places it. Food is probably the biggest one. The horse was domesticated and easy to eat, even during the Mongolian era.
And then something that you'd never find in a Red Cross training, we spend a lot of time talking about chemical weapons, because we see a lot of that in the street. It's not what we primarily treat, but we do see quite a bit of that. So the chemical weapon protocols that were developed in the 1960s we don't no longer use, but they were effective enough that the military adapted them. And now many medical facilities actually use. We did some studies and we did some tests and we found better treatments for pepper spray and tear gas along the way. And many medical communities have adopted them because they are so effective.
Hi guys, welcome back. The city of Missoula is going to apply for a $25 million grant to help improve roads and work on projects in the district. Many of the topics included in the city council report talk about some of the other suggestions of other roads and other things that are kind of being pushed aside for more of the bigger projects, while many projects that have been of high concern for many years is kind of being overlooked for this grant. So anyways, this is called the Better Utilizing Investment to Leverage Development, aka the acronym is B.U.I.L.D. It's a grant application that took most of the meeting, which was basically about 20 minutes of a 38-minute meeting. So this was a very short meeting, but of course today is July 4th, and many of the committee meetings are not happening today because it's July 4th. Aaron Wilson, City Transportation Division, talks about this grant would go towards roads, bike paths, and sidewalks. And this is him.
Essentially what this project is doing is creating the transportation infrastructure necessary to accommodate that anticipated future growth and hopefully catalyze some development that would meet the goals of the city, in terms of creating compact development or supporting transit in the future as they plan to extend lines out into that area to serve the Mullen area. I believe that's part of their draft long-range plan. So it would really be getting the infrastructure necessary to accommodate that as that area is already starting to develop, and to really get a head start on that and try to facilitate some development that meets the city's goals.
Many of the goals that the city wants to achieve is to use the money to work on multiple projects. So the Mullen grant application, a partnership between Missoula County and the city of Missoula, so it's not just the city working on this. They will seek approximately $25 million to build funds to contract core infrastructures in the Mullen areas in West Reserve Street between Mullen and Broadway. The city county is expected to raise 40 to 50% of the grant themselves to be awarded, which according to the city would be between $1 and $2 million on their half, while other expenses are from the Montana Department of Transportation, gas tax, impact fees, and more. So they're just determining whether or not they want to apply in the first place. They're not sure if they're going to get it, so this is an application process. So Dale Bickle, Chief Administration Officer, talks about how this grant was awarded in the past and how confident he is in terms of having this one awarded to the city.
This is the third time the community has applied for this grant. 2 previous time applications. The first round, it was a joint city-county application, and was a little more airport-centric than the one you see today. The second time, the county applied last year, we've always been supportive of the concept, but it was at a time that the time frame was too short for us to get through a public process related to supporting that grant, and so this time we had some more time, and we really worked together with the county to put together a project that I think has great match and great potential.
And time is of the essence, according to many of the people applying for this application. Stacey Anderson voices her concerns of this project and how it will affect the rest of us.
From a planner's perspective, this is kind of like playing Sim City. It's putting the infrastructure and then matching it to development or vice versa. But I know a lot of my constituents are worried about this, especially because of England Boulevard and all that area already having significant amounts of traffic. So I'm just curious to know how they were involved, if they had to be, or if this is something that happens after the grant is awarded. So
the many responses to this is that the application process is one of those things that they didn't actually ask many of the people in the community based on the time frame. But the good news is just the grants is supposed to get the grants, but doesn't mean you can't go through the public process after you get this grant to work on future projects as well. And that's how Aaron Wilson responds, also saying that the grant and the application process was really short. Just last month they got the grant application, so projects don't have the committee time to fund certain projects that they wanted to, but they usually have a lot of projects already on the ticket for future development.
We have looked at this area when we're doing transportation plans and thinking about planning and growth. And there's been a lot of conversations related to this area during the county's land use mapping process that they're doing. And so they're looking at this area and what kind of growth might happen there. And so there's been a public process in terms of looking at the land use side of things from the county's end. And then, all the public process that's happened in past long-range plans that, you're very familiar with. And, I think we've heard that there are a lot of concerns with this area, particularly along Reserve, and what growth would do to that area. And so I think we need to, think about how these projects make better connections, for people, to give them opportunities to travel in different ways to get where they're going, so they don't have to go out to Reserve and then go where their final destination is, and thinking about how these projects can facilitate better development patterns that might give people opportunities to walk or bike or use transit, because there are complete streets, maybe different development patterns that these roads can help, define by funding it ahead of time.
All right, so that was Aaron Wilson once again responding to some of the concerns. The people from the transportation have projects slated for many years, and depending on money determines what they can do and when. Van Buren Double Roundabout is being funded by Montana Department of Transportation, while this project is related to a grant city-county related. This project, it's a federal grant that would be awarded, would begin in 2020. And they would have until 2025 to spend the grant money. Jeremy King with WGM Group talks about the application may be short, but the public process isn't cut out completely.
While we didn't have time to do a robust public process before the grant's due, it is required if we're successful. So it is federal money, and you have to go through an environmental document per the National Environmental Policy Act. So that's a fairly robust public process where you identify all of the impacts and mitigation measures for those things. So things like traffic calming and other neighborhood impacts would be part of that. And as the project gets designed, those details would get fleshed out.
All right, so my last quote I have for you guys is from Jordan Hess, the one who's been spearheading the city process for this grant application. It reflects on this opportunity and many of the places in question about developing in areas with rougher roads who have to deal with leases and multiple owners that affect the permitting process for these construction projects to move forward. So here is Jordan Hess from the City Council.
I'm a huge fan of infill. Everyone around this table knows that. I also think that really well-planned greenfield development is an important part of the mix, and this is an opportunity to do some great planning and really build neighborhoods that fit in well and make a lot of sense. And as Ms. Waller said, provide some connectivity for existing residents to really provide pressure relief valves on intersections that are difficult to navigate. George Elmer and Mullen, or Flynn and Mullen, or Flynn and Broadway. Those are really challenging areas to get in and out of at many times of day. Not to mention the idea of having additional routes for emergency egress or additional opportunities to access West Broadway or other areas. We didn't talk about it much tonight, but I'm really excited about the trails. This gets us some trails to Hellgate School. It does some riparian restoration along Grant Creek, which is critically important work just from a habitat standpoint, but also from a flood control standpoint. And it really, it truly has a tremendous impact on access on the west side of Reserve Street. Sitting at Mullen and Reserve at that intersection is a good way to, or at England and Reserve is a good way to increase your blood pressure. And I think this project helps a lot of those issues.
All right, so that was Jordan Hess talking a little bit more about that. You can watch the full meeting and the full information about this grant and other things that happen within the city of Missoula. Just want to let you guys know that the Saturday outdoor cinema began last Saturday. As a side note, Heidi West says that it rained, but they still had about 29 hardcore people to watch a movie at the place at the school on the north side. So anyways, it's happening every Saturday on the north side for 8 straight weekends. Every Saturday at sundown when the sun, when it's dark enough so you can see the screen outside. Makes sense. Anyways, the item was approved. The B.U.I.L.D grant item was approved, so the city will be moving forward on the application process, which has a lot of support from the city and the county joint efforts to improve and update the Reserve Street areas. So anyways, if you want to watch the meeting, you can go to the city's website, ci.missoula.mt.us. So nice. It's so easy to find. I was about to say, find me on my website. So nice we made you write it out twice. wakeupmissoula.wixsite.com/wakeupmissoula. If you Google Wake Up Missoula, you'll find me on YouTube, Facebook, and the Twitter. All sorts of wonderful resources as well. But of course, if you want to watch programs like this and more with the city of Missoula, you can go on to our MCAT page. You can like us on Facebook. We have a Twitter page, MCAT TV Missoula. But here's MCAT.org. You can find out all those meetings and more by clicking on channel 190, but you can also go check out some of our public programming by clicking on channel 189, which is right here. All right, so that's about it for your city council report. We're moving on. We're going to have some Dubbin Stuff, and this is from The Ghost Train, the 1941 public domain film where I redub over voices of old movies. So enjoy this, and when I come back, I'm going to tell you about your 4th of July events right after this.
Hey, are you even listening to me? I just wanted to show you a couple tricks. See? Whoa, this is heavy. Oh, the power of imagination. See, you can do that too with the power of imagination. I'm just gonna go check outside real quick. Whoa. Well, it seems like it's a little bit better.
That fool, he should close the door.
Whew, it suddenly got a lot warmer in here.
How do you figure?
It's called acting, my dear. Anyone can do it. You just have to pretend to do the exact opposite.
Oh, jeez. Oh. Now I just have to figure out how doorknobs work. Classic Winston. Oh. Yeah. Didn't expect to take a shower today.
Now, Winston, you can't keep going inside and outside the building while it's a storming out there.
Well, I just had to find my last Pokemon card. Oh, so it was in here the whole time. I'm so glad I found it. Are you glad I found my Pokemon cards? Well, since we're all in here stuck together, do you want to learn how to play Pokemon card game rather than just trade it? Let me ask you this question while your mouth is full. Oh, you think you're too good to answer? Well, here's the thing, Missy. Pokemon is a very strategic game. They say you gotta catch them all, but when you get them all, there's more. And they just keep making more. It's like they can't come up with... Well, I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's true.
Who could that be at this time of day outside in the rain?
If you love me, you won't open that door. I know we just met, but...
Well, if nobody's gonna get it, I might as well. Who put this imaginary box here?
Hope he didn't hit his head on my imaginary box.
Move aside. I'm a doctor. Let me check his pulse. He's dead. Let me check his other pulse. Yes. This man is definitely dead. I call all his stuff.
Wait a minute, you just can't call dibs on everybody who dies?
Alright, you gotta lift with your back. Or your legs. Whatever works. Just lift.
I cannot believe he died. He upstaged me. I just know it.
No, dear, you're the best actor ever.
Thank you.
No. He actually might be dead after all.
Hey, Dad, I got some water.
Well, he will not be needing it. Not because he's covered up, because he's dead. Hold on. I gotta go make a phone call. Bring. Hello?
Like any horror film, there's always a jump scare, and always a necessary fake scare as well. But I'm not going to fake it. Okay, I have no idea where I'm going with this. It's Wednesday, 4th of July, kicking things off with the 42nd annual 4th at the Fort. So if you guys are planning to go in the historic museum at Fort Missoula, they're celebrating it pretty much. They kicked it off on today. Wait, that's weird. Never mind. They got the date wrong. They just basically copied and pasted from last year because it said Tuesday, July 4th. But, of course, the pancake breakfast put on by the Church of the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It will be kicking off as early as now until 11 a.m. Of course, festivities begin at 10 a.m., which include musical entertainment, all sorts of music, and it's basically going to happen all day at the Historic Museum at Fort Missoula Complex, not to be associated with the Fort Missoula Regional Park, which is right next door to it. So just be aware of they'll be by the Historic Museum, and you can't miss it. You have all those indoor sports arena type stuff, but why wouldn't you be indoors at all? But just wanted you guys to know that there's a bunch of gymnastics camps and more happening at Missoula Indoor Sports Arena, Missoula Gymnastics, and Roots Acro Sports Center, all happening now until about 3:30 in the afternoon. Tiny Tales is at Empower Place. Hey, get indoors, get reading. If you're a lifetime member of the Missoula Food Bank who go there, you can have your kids read while you pick out food. It's a great service for the community. Spectrum Discovery Center is doing chemistry and Cubelets in the afternoon makerspace. All this starts at 11 a.m. Out to lunch is happening at 11 every Wednesday. Today, they're having Merry Place and the Blue Moon. It's jazz, blues, and funk all mixed into the Merry Place and the Blue Moon. So they're going to be playing at the place. They usually do about 2 sets from 11 to 2 p.m., so you can check that out. It's lunchtime. Put down your work and leave the confines of your office. Take the kiddos on the outing. Show off your town to guests and clients. If you are new to town, explore downtown Missoula. Come to Karis Park for terrific food and live music every Wednesday, June through the end of August from 11 to 2. Scrabble and Bridge at the Missoula Senior Center starting at 12:30ish. Fourth Fest is happening at the Southgate Mall parking lot. The last couple of years, they've been hosting the Missoula County big fireworks show display at the Missoula Fairgrounds. But since now all construction is done at the Southgate Mall is pouring a little bit more money into it this year and kicking things off with a bunch of bands starting at 7 p.m. First band is the Ed Norton Big Band. It's free for everybody, but of course the concessions cost money. With they have beer, they're serving beer there as well. Of course, after a 2-year hiatus, they're bringing Missoula 4th of July fireworks home to Southgate Mall. You can join them Wednesday, July 4th. This is the first year that Southgate Mall will be participating in this under new ownership. Food trucks and beer garden and fun activities for the entire family. Fireworks will begin at 10:30 p.m. The coordinating music streaming with the 102.5 Mountain FM, the staff of Southgate Mall, along with sponsors First Interstate Bank, Mountain Broadcasting, KCI, are excited to welcome everyone to celebrate the Fourth Fest. And the just so you guys know, on MissoulaEvents.net, the Bonner Park, where they have the Missoula City Band, is still advertised. So the Missoula City Band will not be playing at Bonner Park at 8 p.m. tonight. They'll be playing at the 4th of July celebrations at the Southgate Mall, starting at 9:30 p.m. up until they launch the fireworks off. So check that out, and they're going to be doing. The mall will be open and doing all sorts of mall stuff from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They'll probably have some kind of 4th of July sale, because hey, it's capitalism. Every 4th of July, it's all about money. Anyways, 4th of July Potty. It's a play on words with the Wagon Indoor Dog Park, and starting at 7 p.m. the potluck style dinner with the Wagon family. The Residence Grill Masters will be grilling up hot dogs for humans and pups. The drinks will be provided. Lolo Peak Brewing Company, blah blah blah, and it's free for members and it's $10 for non-members. And this is a good way for keeping your dogs indoors, maybe during the 4th of July, because it's really hard for your animals and pets and even veterans to deal with the explosions of fireworks. So just letting you guys know. Many of these are licensed and permitted activities, so just because they get to do it doesn't mean you have the right to do it without the proper permits. You can actually get permitted to do it if you wanted to shoot off fireworks, but you can't just shoot off fireworks willy-nilly in the city of Missoula. Since last couple of years a bond was passed, so you can get major fines as well. But another place to go is Lolo Hot Springs, starting at 9 p.m. They're doing a bunch of activities, a festival, and they're doing indoor-outdoor hot springs, and it's from 10 a.m. to midnight, all day happening today. It's a 3-day tent camping special also from June 29th to July 7th, and it's just $25.68 a night. Cabin starting at $58.85 per night, and of course RV sites for $32.10 per night. So they're having a bunch of specials if you guys want to go camping during your 4th of July weekend. Also, Sleely Lake does fireworks off of the lake, so if you guys are going to Sleely Lake, this would be a perfect day to do it as well. A couple other things happening tonight away. They're doing karaoke at the Dark Horse, karaoke at the Badlander, a bunch of trivia nights and stuff like that. And also, I just want to give a shout out to the Roxy. They're doing Independence Day, the movie with the with the aliens and stuff. They're going to be showing that at 8 p.m. tonight as well. And those are your 4th of July events that are happening all weekend long. I have an art clip for you guys. This is the last week you guys get to check out some art from the Zach, so you better go check it out before this art installation is gone forever. And then when I come back, I'm going to talk about some Thursday events and then wrap up the show. So stay with me. Well, it's Thursday, but not really. July 5th, here are some of your July 5th events that are happening throughout the city of Missoula. If you're interested in doing some indoor fun, it's going to get really hot tomorrow, up to the 90s. Missoula Sports Arena provides Missoula County with surrounding area with first-of-the-art indoor sports field. They have inflatable park, consisting of large inflatables such as playgrounds, obstacle courses, and more. And it's a Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And it's $7 per child. Kids table at the library. It happens every day, Monday through Friday, and I think they're taking today off because it is a holiday. And but most days, when the Missoula Public Library is open at 10:30 a.m., the large conference room, or if otherwise specified, they provide lunch for kids who are 18 and under, in conjunction with the Missoula Food Bank. Drop-in crafts at the Big Sky branch. Hey, if you're interested in doing some arts and crafts from 12 to 4 p.m. at the Big Sky High School library, you get to make your own stuff. You can make your own knickknacks and toys and all sorts of wonderful things. I don't even know if it's toys or not, but this is supposed to be a Wednesday through Thursday, 12 to 4 p.m. at the Big Sky branch. Hosted, which is sponsored by the Missoula Public Library. Computer electronics in their makerspace, Missoula Public Library, once again in their downtown location, from 3 to 6 p.m. You get to explore and work on their couple 3D printers to print your 3D printed dream, or whatever you want to do in the makerspace. You just make things. The Secret Life of Dragonfly, Missoula Insectarium, associated with the butterflyhouse.org. Dragonflies are expert flyers, grabbing live insects out of the air to eat with astonishing accuracy. It is estimated that 95% of attempts are successful, but did you know that most of their life is not spent hunting in the sky, but on the water? On this day, they will explore the secret underwater life of dragonfly and create a beautiful sun catcher to hang on your window. Drop by anytime from 3 to 5 at the Missoula Insectarium. This is all happening tomorrow. And also tomorrow afternoon, Missoula Public Library. Once again, there's a lot of events. Lego Club. Hey, you like playing with Legos? there's a Lego Club at 3:30 p.m. in the Missoula Public Library every Thursday. Humphrey Fellowship Community Dialogue Series, Jeanette Rankin Peace Center. Join UM's English Language Institute and Jeanette Rankin Peace Center for the third installment of the Humphrey Fellow Community Dialogues. This week they'll discuss their home countries, Mexico, Colombia, and Cuba, and their work in the urban planning and human resources, followed by community discussion. So they're going to be talking about their home countries, and you got some people from Mexico, Colombia, and Cuba there to talk about this Humphrey Fellowship Community Dialogue Series. It's international. It's great. But if you are interested in laughing, tomorrow night, it is the first Thursday of the month, and every first Thursday of the month, the Union Club hosts a open mic comedy night from 9:30 till about 11, and you can enjoy a good laugh, or even try to make people laugh as well. It's an open mic comedy night hosted by John Howard. If you're interested in doing anything else that night, they got some karaoke at the Dark Horse. They got some German heavy metal at the VFW happening tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Acoustic Avenue, Christy Hayes is going to be at the Top Hat Lounge. And they have a bunch of other things happening anywhere. Of course, they say Jack Clinton is talking about Clovis at the Shakespeare and Company. It's going to be a book signing event. So if you like the book Clovis by Jack Clinton, he's going to be there starting at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. So that pretty much does it for all your events. If you're interested in finding out more about what's happening in your city of Missoula in terms of events and going out and just doing stuff, you guys can go to MissoulaEvents.net. Hey, what's going on in Missoula? It's right here. Here it is. This is what's happening. That's so stupid. Anyways, if you want to learn more information about Wake Up Missoula, you go to wakeupmissoula.wixsite.com/wakeupmissoula. So nice you made you write it out twice. Once again, you can always go to MCAT.org to find your local government, your summer camp signups. We still have room in our Time Travelers Camp, which begins next Monday, July 9th through July 13th. We team up with Historic Museum at Fort Missoula for a summer camp about history. So if you are a history buff and you want to, or if you want your kid to learn a little bit more about Missoula's history and make a nice little video, educational infotainment type video, we're going to show your kids how to make education fun with the power of media. So we'll be doing that next week from 9, and also MCAT does orientation every Wednesday, except for today because we're going to be closed because of July 4th. So MCAT is closed today. I'm still here doing a live show on July 4th. I could have taken it off, but I like money. So, okay, you just got to laugh at yourself. Anyways, you can laugh at me later on my YouTube, and I'll also be replaying this afternoon on MCAT as well. So thank you for joining me, and for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramf.